I'm thinking this is a good time in the service that if anyone would like to wiggle, they could wiggle. I'm feeling a little need to wiggle, so I'm going to wiggle up here, and you can wiggle down there. It'll all work out. And as you wiggle, feel free to keep wiggling. I won't be the least bit offended if you keep wiggling throughout my very brief conversation here. I want to tell you a story about last Friday when I went, as I do many days, to the bank. I drove to the bank. The problem is that the bank that I go to last Friday is at the mall. So the good news was I was the only customer in the bank. The bad news was how long it took me to get home from the bank, going through the mall. There were a whole lot of people at the mall. Many people, they were all rushing and trying to cut their cars in front of each other, and it was, in fact, a terrible mess. You see, this was the day after Thanksgiving. It was the second day of Hanukkah, and my neighbors were apparently starting their holiday shopping. Now, I thought about holiday spirit as I watched this one guy almost ram his car into the car in front of him. And then I heard another make a noise louder and ruder than any car horn I ever thought could sound. These folks are shopping for gifts, I thought. And I wondered, in that moment, about their spirit of gift-giving. And I wondered after that moment whether they ever thought of themselves as a gift. Or if they thought about the little gifts that were all around us that day. It was a bright and sunny day like today is. They'd had perhaps some extra time with people that they loved. And apparently this year, at least some of them felt like they had a little more money that they needed to spend at the mall. So there were some little in-the-moment presents that seemed lost in that larger search for presents. And I thought about the words of the Buddhist teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, since they were the theme for today. And he said this: when we walk like we are rushing, we print anxiety and sorrow on the earth. We have to walk in a way that we only print peace and serenity on the earth. Be aware of the contact between your feet and the earth. Walk as if you were kissing the earth with your feet. Walk as if you were kissing the earth with your feet. Let's try that right now, just sitting in your chair. You don't have to walk anywhere. Just put your feet down on the earth. And how would you touch the earth if your feet were giving it back gratitude? How would that feel? How would that feel? If every step was a thank you for the daily present of your life on this earth, what would you be saying you were grateful for? Well, this morning, you might talk to someone and learn something about them and make a connection with them. And then maybe next week or the week after, you might talk to that person again or listen to that person again. And you might do that again and again. And before you know it, you might have a new friend. That would be a gift. And then you might have another new friend. That friend might give you the gift of a new idea, or might help you see something in a way you've never seen it before, so that it seemed particularly beautiful to you. And one of the reasons to be in community is because it's made up of friends. And one of the reasons to be in community is because communities allow us to learn and grow. So on Friday, as I'm weaving my way, not very quickly I must say, through that line of traffic, I think about all those small in-the-moment blessings, how I'm healthy, how I have enough food to eat, which many people in this country, including children, do not. And I think about how much of the food that I have to eat is healthy food, except every now and then when I make some bad choices. And how I have people in my life that love me and whom I love, and I think about those gifts. Thich Nhat Hanh says that it matters what we think, because our thoughts are like seeds, and we have seeds of gratitude and we have seeds of discontent, and that's kind of a big word, but the discontent seeds are kind of like the ones that are grouchy, the ones that think we don't have enough. I have a feeling there were a few grouchy seeds in those cars around me. And when we water the seeds of being grouchy, then they grow and they grow and they grow and they take up more space in our lives. And we know how this works, right? You get up in a bad mood and you're grouchy and mean to the people around you, and suddenly they're grouchy and mean to you, and all of a sudden all we're watering are those seeds of discontent. So I want us together to take a moment and to think about what seeds we are watering. And teachers like Thich Nhat Hanh use their breathing to help them remember to water the right seeds. So I want us just to breathe in and out together. This is actually something we've been doing all along, so it shouldn't be that hard. But let's do it a little more consciously. You might even do it so your neighbor next to you could hear you breathe in and breathe out. And breathe in and breathe out. And now we can do it together a little more quietly. And as you breathe in, I invite you to think about these words. Breathing in, I am aware of the gift of this day. Breathing out, I am grateful for this gift. Breathing in, I am aware that someone could offer me their wisdom and listen to mine. Breathing out, I am aware of the gifts of connection. Breathing in, I am aware that some people are angry at me and that I am angry at them. And breathing out, I realize that anger harms me and those around me. Breathing in, I'm aware that I want some things I cannot have. Breathing out, I am aware that wanting makes me miss what I do have. Seeing myself determined not to water the seeds of anger and greed, I breathe in, hoping to do more, reaching out, connecting, talking to new people, and bringing hope to the lives around me. I breathe out. You know, another teacher, Jesus of Nazareth, mostly taught and studied with people who had very little to eat, very little opportunity, very little hope. And what he wanted to do, you could say, is water the seeds of hope within them. And not only that, but he wanted to teach them ways to water those seeds themselves, because he knew he would not always be there to be their teacher, as we all know in our own lives. So he developed a ritual, a meal, and that was an act that became the act we call communion, which is an act that is done together, a special act of community, something done by friends and people who learn and grow together. So the church where I was an intern minister had a communion table, and engraved on its side was, "Do this in remembrance of me." Some of you may have grown up with those tables. And sometimes when I sat in that sanctuary, I wondered what Jesus wanted us all to do in remembrance of him. And I think now what he wanted us to do was to water those seeds of hope that had been planted in his community, to remind the people that he loved them, to remind them of the respect he tried to have for them and the respect he wanted them to have for each other in their community. Do this in remembrance of me when I cannot be with you anymore, so that you will take care of those good seeds and remember the goodness in you always. Do this to remember that you are the gift. I wonder what would have happened if I had stopped my car in that long line of traffic on Friday, and if I had gotten out and begun to walk as if my feet We're kissing the earth. I suspect I would have heard other new and rude horn noises that I had never heard before, and perhaps someone would have tried to make me as flat as a shirt box because they thought I was in the way of the line they were trying to get into. I also think, though, there might have been someone who would have seen that my spirit of gratitude and who would have been reminded of something they were thankful for, something they were so grateful for. It was like a good seed within them. The great Jewish teacher Hillel said, "In a place where there are no humans, one must strive to be human." Let us be a place where we strive to be human. Let us water and celebrate those seeds of our common humanity through those little acts, which in this season of presence and presence remind us of all we have. For all of this, we are truly grateful.